Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the channel. Okay, stay down there and don't bark. And don't start a fight with your sister. Stay tuned for barking. It's gonna happen. Anyway, again, thanks for tuning in. Welcome again to the channel. And in my last video, I mentioned my supplement program that I'm going to be using in addition to the training regimen. I have a goal, as I mentioned, of trying to be in as good a shape as possible for a man my age, and we'll see what shakes out. So it's just going to be an experiment. I'm challenging myself a little bit, especially through the winter. I'm gonna hibernate a little bit and really get into the training. So, and we'll chronicle it little by little as we go along. I'm actually thinking about going back into a commercial gym for some of these videos. So we'll see what happens there. Checked out a couple of places. I think I might be going back to one of them, but we'll see. Anyway, I neglected to mention in the last video the protein supplements that I'm going to be using. This particular one, I get my protein supplements at Costco, but you can pick these up on the web or any place. I think some grocery store chains might sell this, but this is a collagen peptide protein, and what I'll do is I'll mix this. This is really good. I'll mix this with Greek yogurt, so I get a double whammy of protein. And as you get older, you should be increasing your protein. What happens is, unfortunately, a lot of people, as they age, they cut down on the food they eat, but what they're doing is they're also cutting down on the protein. So you need to increase the protein. So one way, obviously, to get the extra protein is through supplementation. So I use this protein powder. It's collagen, and it helps with with your skin, hair, your nails, your joints. And I've been using this for about 2 years, and I think I feel the difference. Yeah, I can say, who knows? Could be placebo effect. A lot of stuff is in your head, but it seems to be working pretty good. So I'll mix it in plain Greek yogurt. By the way, I'm not sponsored by any of these guys, so this is a really, I find this one to be the best. It has a nice consistency to it, and I mix it with this, and it tastes like chocolate pudding. So use this once a day, and generally after my workout, I'll use this particular protein powder. The reason for this particular brand is because it's sweetened with stevia. Most of the protein powders on the market are sweetened with Splenda or something else, and I find this to be one of the few that's actually sweetened with stevia. Splenda is, rather not use it. And oh, by the way, and this one also is sweetened with stevia. So that's why, basically, another reason I'll use these two brands. This one is available in Costco. I don't know if you can get it in a health food store, but you might be able to order it off the web. It's got everything you need as far as a whey supplement is concerned. It's got a real high-profile amino acid, a high-profile amino acid profile. So yeah, it's pretty complete. So I use this, and again, once a day. I mix it by hand in water, and I may add a little half and half to just give it a little consistency. So yeah, so I do take extra protein along with my food, and yeah, I'll eat fruits and vegetables too. Not too much fruit. Uh, Grapefruit, watermelon, basically in season. Vegetables, mostly broccoli, spinach. um, yeah, string beans, things like that. And oh, also in the yogurt, I'll chop up some walnuts and Brazil nuts. Brazil nuts are again, it's good for helping to boost the testosterone in your system. So that's that. I just wanted to mention uh, these two products that I use in addition to all the other supplements that I mentioned. Now, this is the last time I'm going to be mentioning this or talking about this. Until next time. Okay. Um, when I decided to create this channel, um, I was thinking, how am I going to approach this subject? Because you can go to YouTube for sets and reps if you just want to learn how to train and you want all different kind of routines, whether basic routines or routines for competition. It's all on there, whatever you need to find or to locate. So YouTube has basically become a compendium for everything that's out there regarding bodybuilding history, whatever you want to know about it. So I decided, basically for me, in addition to giving you some tips, because I've been at this game a long time and I've seen it all, just about. And from personal experience and from the experience of others, I've trained with and around some of the top professional bodybuilders in history. If I mention their names and if you knew anything about the sport, you'd know who I was talking about. And I learned a lot, and I just want to pass some of this information along to you guys as we go along. So, as I said in other videos, my approach is just a stream of consciousness kind of thing. Is just take various topics and kind of riff on them, like supplements and uh, different methods of training and bodybuilding. So one of the things I decided to do is go into the archives, so to speak. I went on eBay to locate some of the old muscle magazines that I had when I was a kid. Now, the muscle magazines, for 90% of the people back in the day, represented the entryway, the gateway to bodybuilding. Even Arnold, Lou Ferrigno, uh, a lot of these guys, they discovered a muscle magazine while searching for a comic book or something. Wow, let me check this out. And, it's like the pixie dust. It's you. You've been chosen. So, so the muscle magazines gave you, back in the day, a lot of the old timers were still alive. The old time champions were still alive. So you were able to be inspired, and at the same time you learned a lot. And that's, from time to time I'll try to pass off some of the things that I learned. I was never a champion bodybuilder, but I did get close to looking like one of those guys in the magazines. I was basically a steroid cycle away from, at least getting a look at, but it wasn't to be. But hey, listen, it's the old saying, those that can do and those that can't teach. So I could, but I didn't, but I can teach. So anyway, I decided to obtain a number of muscle magazines that I wanted to use in conjunction with some of the topics that I'll be talking about. So anyway, this particular issue, oh, yeah, steroids. That's the topic of the day. And I said, this is the last time I'm going to talk about it until the next time. this particular in this particular magazine, it's an Iron Man magazine from June of 1979, and there's an article in here about a guy who won the Mr. Universe contest without steroids. That's what he says. That's what the article talks about. I happen to know who this guy was. He passed away a number of years ago, but I knew who he was. I trained in the Mid-City Gym in Manhattan. He was there working out at the time that I was training. And anyway, he went on to become a regional and national champion, and he went on to win the Mr. Universe, and he makes the claim that he did it without using steroids. Okay, so let's understand something. Just because you didn't use steroids doesn't mean you didn't use drugs. Anabolic steroids is just one classification of performance-enhancing drugs. A lot of the drugs that were used back in the day are not used now. For example, back in the day, the main drug was Dianabol. I don't think these guys use Dianabol anymore. The physiques have gotten so freaky looking and so, even for me, they don't do anything for me. They're a turnoff. They're all cookie cutter physiques. They all kind of look the same. Whereas back in the day, you could tell Arnold from Frank Zane, from Franco Columbo, to Larry Scott, to Bill Pearl, to Reg Park. You could look at their silhouettes and tell who they were. That's how different they were, even though they used what today would be considered low-grade anabolic steroids. So, as I said, anabolic steroids like Dianabol, Anavar, Primobolan, Decadurabolin, those kinds of drugs are one classification of performance-enhancing drugs. Who the hell knows what they're using today? And they're getting out of hand. It's gotten to be where it's chemical warfare. It's not even physique contests anymore. And one of the reasons you should stay away from competitive bodybuilding is because the best body the body that you think is the best body rarely wins. It's like a dog show, right? How many times have you watched the Westminster Dog Show and you said, that's the dog, I like that dog. That dog is really a good... And another dog wins. A dog that you least expected to win is the winner. I'm partial to a couple of different dogs, okay? But I look at I said, how can that, how can that dog not win? And the dog doesn't win. It's the same thing with bodybuilding. Unless you are an outlier and you have such superior genetics like an Arnold Schwarzenegger, and even he lost 3 times. Should have lost a 4th time, but it's like in boxing, you got to knock out the champion in order to win. So even he was vulnerable. But still, he was the greatest champion in the history of bodybuilding. To this day, he's been retired for 40 years. So more than that, almost 50 years he's been retired. Imagine that. So and today, if he was competing, when he retired, at his best, 1974, he was 230 pounds, 6'2". Today, at 6'2", he would have to come in at about 280 pounds. Okay, so that's too much, even for him. So, okay, so I just wanted to clarify that. Just because, I can look at this and he's on drugs, I can tell. He may not be using steroids. See, so he's kind of like dancing around it. So if somebody says, I'm not using drugs, that doesn't mean he's not using steroids, anabolic steroids. Or he can say, I'm not using steroids, that doesn't mean he's not using drugs. So be careful with the jargon and how these guys dance around this stuff. So I just wanted to touch on that today. And I just wanted to share what supplements, in addition to the supplements, the protein powders that I use. Okay, so that's it for today. Again, if you like this kind of content, Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when we're on the air, and we'll see you. Hasta la pasta.